I'm Priscilla Patterson. I'm a volunteer at the Connie Hansen Garden. We're in Lincoln City, Oregon. Connie Hansen was a lady who had spent some of her childhood in Oregon, but she was in California. That's where she received her education. She was a botanist, and she raised her family there and taught and gardened in California. And in her retirement years, when she was widowed, she decided that she wanted to look for some land on the Oregon coast where she could grow some of her favorite plants, those being non-bearded iris, primula, rhododendrons, and azaleas. And she found this piece of land that you see here. And basically what it was just raw land with grass and blackberries and the sort of plants that grow in a very wet, boggy area. The creek was running through it at the time, and I think that had a lot to do with why she selected this area, because the soil's very rich, alluvial sort of soil, and suitable for planting the kind of plants that she wanted. However, it was very open back then and very sunny. And when you walk around the garden today, you're seeing a forest in the making with a lot of shade. So it's transitioned a lot over the years. And what we have now is a mature garden. So it presents a lot more challenges than what she had originally established. She gardened this lot in her retirement years for 20 years, from age approximately 62 until 82. Ill health caused her to quit gardening, and she sold the land to a friend of hers, Virginia Warren, who she thought would be able to take care of it for her. A lot of the neighbors around here realized what they had, and that they knew that this was a jewel. It was absolutely magnificent, and they wanted to save it. So they formed a conservancy, and with a substantial donation from one neighbor, Rita Holmes, and some of the land that Virginia was able to actually donate to the conservancy. It was formed in 1994, late 1994. And from then on, it's just been a labor of love for Connie Hansen Garden Conservancy. And we operate strictly on a volunteer basis. There are certain things that we do that we have to hire done, such as lawn care and so on, arborist work, that sort of thing, as it arises. But basically, we're simply supported by membership, which is fairly small, by donations, fundraising activities like plant sales, that sort of thing. Connie's vision is how we garden today, in her spirit, following and preserving the plants that she had originally planted in the garden. And one of her major loves was beardless iris. That encompasses things like Pacific Coast iris, which she had many varieties, and at this point we're still trying to reestablish some of those varieties. Some iris have been brought back into the garden that were originally here, that we are then going to be planting back into the garden. She hybridized iris, and she's actually known for registering an iris that she got as seed that she grew, and its name is Lightly Touched. So you can actually research this and see that this is Connie's iris. Another thing that she was very well known for were her primula or primroses, and she has them everywhere. But in particular, there is a variety of primula known as candelabra primrose that we still have a fairly good stand of in the garden. Again, we're attempting to bring more of those in as we find them, and we're also growing them from seed to reestablish a massive planting of those. Those are really attractive primula. They grow about 2 to 3 feet high, and they have whorls of flowers up the stem. And in June, they are just spectacular. Rhododendron and azalea obviously was one of her great loves. She has a collection of rhododendron from all over the world. And in the spring months, March, April, May, this garden is just a blaze of color with so many different varieties. We haven't done an actual head count, but I think it's something like 300 different types of rhododendron and azalea that you can see here. One of the things that we love to do is work with the garden in its natural environment and introduce plants that weren't necessarily here originally, but that we think Connie would have gone out and found and actively sought and fallen in love with and brought back into the garden. We want to preserve what we have here and maintain it in her spirit, recognizing that we're in a changing environment, that gardens are always in a process of evolution, and that things will change. Our biggest challenge is to make sure that into the future, this garden continues to survive and grow and be loved and tended. Most of the volunteers are my age or older. We are all Connie's age. We're all in our retirement years. So we're actively looking for younger people to become involved in the garden on a sort of a long-term basis so that it can continue to survive and serve the community.